As always, it's always a joy to have the doc in studio, and we are just excited not only to have her back, because the listeners on the Facebook page are going crazy already, but just to dive inside another conversation pertaining to our health. So good morning to you, Dr. Le Blanc, and welcome back. How are you doing?
I am fine. Good morning, JD. Good morning, everyone in Trinidad and Tobago. Happy to be back in person.
Nice to have you back. The disconnection was just too much with the phone, man.
I didn't realize how much I'd missed seeing you, man.
It's good to have you. Same here. And the page is dirty, so they thoroughly missed you. So they are glad you're
Hi,
back.
everybody. Can't see you on the page because I'm technologically challenged at times, but
But she's there. She notices the camera though. So yeah. So she's seeing you. Well, you are certainly seeing the doc inside the studio with me, Dr. Le Blanc. So as always, this is not a surprising month in terms of what the spotlight sits on.
Yes.
We have been here. Maybe you can give us a history of how long it has been observed inside of this month. But we're talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And before we even go any further with that, we've got to really recognize our sponsors inside of this.
Yes,
who are
you have to.
standing with us inside of the live checkup. So we got to say good morning to
Massey.
Yes,
Massey, yes. And we have to remind everyone to buy the pink bag because then you help the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society. So this month I'm here in the space as the chairperson of the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society, as well as Dr. Le Blanc. So
yeah,
I'm trying to promote.
Always saying that the chairwoman of the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society, but today you're wearing the hat.
I'm wearing that hat a little tighter.
So we got to say thanks to our friends at Massey, but we're excited to jump into it, and we will do that right after this.
Get dinner and candles alight, popcorn for your movie night. One stop and get it right, it's that good. We've got what you're looking for, all the brands you love and more. Get everything at Massey Stores. Massey Stores is where you wanna be. We take care of you like family. We do all that we could to treat you like we should. It's that good, it's that good. That good. When you shop at Massey Stores. That good.
Massey Stores, our family serving your family.
Another one of our talented musicians right there. Hey, Denise, nice to hear you again inside of that one. Massey Stores, thank you so much for this 30 minutes inside of the live checkup. Dr. Le Blanc Dr. Le Blanc, based on Victoria Clinic on Gallis Street. Yes, that is the original hat, but today she's twisting it just a little bit, stylishly twisting it to where the hat is chairwoman of the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society.
It's hard to stop saying chairman, isn't it?
Yeah, because we do that.
Oh, gosh, but it's so hard, eh? You're chairperson, chairwoman, chair.
Right? So we're certainly going with that. So let's go straight into it, because I know most persons, I'm not sure if you know, but breast cancer is the most common type of cancer for us women. Now, since breast cancer is so common, it really does make sense to learn more about it consistently. And breast cancer is the uncontrolled growth of breast cells. And I want you to go deeper inside of that. But first, can you tell us about the month that is in which it's recognized? Maybe the history behind it. How long has this been around?
Oof, decades. So as you know, every cancer has a day or a month.
Yes.
Right? So October, it's been for decades that October was highlighted as Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
And it's very much connected to that pink ribbon we see as
well.
Yeah,
so each cancer has a color as well. So there's a calendar of colors for each cancer. So I get confused sometimes with all the purples, the teals, and whatever. But the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society definitely represents all cancers. But October is one of the highlighted months, and that is because breast cancer, as you rightly say, is the leading cause, and I'm going to say this very slowly, the leading cause of cancer deaths in women.
All right.
Worldwide and in Trinidad and Tobago. It is one of the most common cancers in women. So you got it right. Yes, I'm saying it very slowly, so we got that and we accept that. Because we're not seeing the numbers go down. And this is worrying for us.
I was just we're
seeing. So what I want to say is when I say we're not seeing the numbers go down, we need to see the mortality numbers go down, meaning the deaths go down. So we want to make the inroad. We want to continue to remind our sisters, especially our sisters, and we'll come to the men just now, but especially the women, remind them about how we can be proactive about our health. The word that we've been using all through the pandemic, which is self-care. We want to remind them about screening and the so-called feared mammogram, clinical breast exams, self-breast examinations, because screening is key. Screening is key. It is our major, most effective weapon against this dreadful disease.
I'm somehow getting from you that if we do that early screening, whether it's our self-checks or just having the usual yearly check, that we can somehow come down on those mortality
Yes,
rates
and let me
you're
tell
talking
you
about.
why. Screening of any disease is looking for a disease in a so-called normal population. So if I go looking for something, JD, I should find it, correct?
Yeah.
I will find more of it.
Yeah.
But guess what? I will be looking for it, I will find more of it, but I will find it at an earlier stage. So if I find it at an earlier stage, I give a greater chance of survivorship. I give a greater chance of living to tell the tale. But most importantly, the treatment regime and the treatment protocol is totally different. It's better. It's more, should I say, livable? You understand? And we also will spend less money the earlier we detect the cancer. And you will survive.
But I appreciate that you said this is across the board for all cancers. Anything, just doing that early screening, that early check.
For the cancers we can screen for,
Yes.
very important. And as we always emphasize, the importance of an annual checkup. Because there are certain things that while certain cancers can't be screened for, we can look at signs and symptoms based on your annual checkup and different things that we will look at to determine what else has to be done.
So let's speak about, before we talk about the checkups and the screenings, what are some of the risk factors that
Of breast
that are
cancer.
present? Yeah.
Right. So we can never forget genetics. So genetic is a big factor for breast cancer. So you would have heard, most people know of the BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene. So you would have seen Patti LaBelle, who had all her sisters, Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
So these, so we always, unfortunately or fortunately,
That's
have
when
to
it
look
comes- yeah.
have to look at the stars, because it's never the normal woman, which should not be. It should be all women. But let's just take it for what it is. Let's put them as advocates. Let's put
Right.
them there because they have brought it to the forefront once again, that they looked at their genetic lineage and decided to they made a decision. They made an informed decision on what they wanted to do, which was their mastectomies, right? Prophylactic mastectomies. So genetics, family history is a major factor, especially if it's a first-degree relative. So first-degree means from mother or father's side, grandparents, or
Right.
aunts and uncles, right?
Right.
Then we look at, you look at the age you started having children, right? So the earlier you start having children, the more protected you are.
Right.
Breastfeeding, right? You look at your lifestyle. Very important, your lifestyle in terms of if you're sedentary, exercising or not, what you take into your body, so your nutrition. We speak about this day in, day out, right? Those are risk factors for cancer, because cancer, again, we've always reiterated, cancer is a lifestyle disease. Yeah? Use of hormones, so birth control and hormone replacement therapies. So the hormones they're actually a risk factor for breast cancer and other cancers, as we have spoken about before. So those are the major.
There are many risk factors that sound similar to risk factors.
Smoking. I left smoking for the last
Oh, really?
because people know the smoking, but I want to include this year, as I did last year, the vaping. No smoking, no vaping.
But
Big risk factor.
is it very much similar? Because I see this vaping trend going on.
Don't do it.
But what is
Don't
it?
think about it.
Eh.
Let's not go there. You know what? We were looking for another topic.
That's a good conversation.
So vaping really and truly has a history. And, the tobacco industry will always try to find ways to manipulate the minds of our youth so that they can use their products. And once we got the Tobacco Control Act, which the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society was definitely integral in getting that Tobacco Control Act done in Trinidad and Tobago, vaping was brought about. Vaping, some vapes actually have nicotine. A cartridge could actually have the equivalent of 1 pack of cigarettes in one cartridge. Yes.
So what's the use then?
There's no, so what they're trying to say is that you'll use less nicotine, that it's just the feeling of having that smoke, but it's important for the public to understand you have preservatives, you have additives, all those flavorings and all of that, those are chemicals, so that's going to affect you. So let's say no smoking, no vaping, let's keep that for a different day.
That is indeed another conversation, because you can go deep into that, but I understand what you're saying there. That is one of the risk factors.
Yeah.
But how do we, I know you mentioned lifestyle, of course, not being, this mobile, being more mobile, but what are some of the other ways we can decrease your risk?
JD, I sat there and I say, every year in October, I have the same talk almost. What do we do? And then every year it's like, but I do that already, but I do that. And then I say, but do you really do it? So for example, we speak of exercise. Now I applaud you. I see you're sticking to your regime. I have not joined you social media wise, but I've been sticking to mine as well. Yeah. So that's what I want. That's what we're asking for. Creative ways to be active. You don't need to be in a gym if you can't afford it. You understand? I'm not saying don't go to the gym. Please don't get me wrong. I'm saying you have to use what you have. You have to understand where you are from an exercise point of view. We can go outside, the fresh air. That helps in so many different ways, with or without your mask. Let's be very clear on that. Walking, buddy systems, JD, because it's so much more of just walking up chance. So for example, with a friend, you have that conversation, but your heart rate is pumping. Yeah, exercise is important. For women, we have to involve and include our strength training for our bone health and for our overall wellness. It's so important that we do strength training as well. But not only the aerobic exercise, JD, Pilates, yoga, those kinds of postural balance, core strengthening, lower back muscle strengthening, very important. What we put into our bodies, what we eat. JD, you can drink alcohol, but you can't do it excessively, right? That's so important. We always come to the word balance. We always come to moderation. What are we going to eat today? Are we going to eat local? And if we eat local, do we really know if it's local and how it was planted, how it was reaped? You understand? Mm-hmm. Now, it's not supposed to be a stressful exercise. Eating should not be stressful. I shouldn't have to worry everything. So I was reading this magazine the other day, and it said, label packaging, which we're fighting for through the NCD Alliance, which we're a part of. And it talks about the packaging information, the labels, showing you what is in there. And when you go to the States and you go to a fast food restaurant and they have the burger, and they put how much calories are in the burger, and you go, oops, maybe I'll just have a salad. Yes, yeah. Or then you think the salad was healthy, and then you go, oops, maybe I should just have the burger. Yes. So it's important to look at the packaging of what you're picking up. And it was so funny because it said now the U.S. has made it mandatory for them to put sugars, total sugars, natural sugar and added sugar. If you look at the package and you see sugar as the first thing, that is what is in there by majority. So we have to make a change. We have to make a choice. Look at what we eat, the greens, eat seasonally. You understand? Have your water. Those are so important, JD, and I don't want it to be something where we look and we say, oh, I'm not eating this because of that. I want it to be balanced. I want it to be a lifestyle change. I want it to be something that you like, that you want to do. You wake up and you want to have your oats in the morning. You understand? You put your cinnamon, you put your banana today. The mango came in summer. It's not only about the berries. We didn't grow up on the berries. Berries are nice, but you understand. But let us stick to our seasonal foods.
Let's just take a pause for a second and say thanks to the folks standing with us inside of the live checkup, and we'll be back in just a bit to continue the conversation on breast cancer awareness inside of the month of October. I hope you're taking your notes. If you do have questions, don't worry about it. I'm going to make that spot for you to call in and certainly share yours. So I will decrease my questions to allow all of yours. 622 eyes. I'll be back in just a sec. We'll be back in just a second.
Get dinner and candles alight, popcorn for your movie night. One stop and get it right. It's that good. We've got what you're looking for. All the brands you love and more. Get everything at Massey Stores. Massey Stores is where you wanna be. We take care of you like family. We do all that we could to treat you like we should. When you shop at Massy Stores, that good.
Massy Stores, our family serving your family.
Thank you, Massey, so much. We appreciate it. The live checkup right here in I-95.5. Dr. Le Blanc is in studio. I'm here with you, JD, and of course, we're inside of another very pertinent conversation, breast cancer. We touched on a few things in terms of the risk factors before, the numbers, and you said, in Trinidad and Tobago, of course, the doctor's wearing the hat as chairwoman of the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society today. So remember that. It's coming with all the details. Let's speak about, Doc, the symptoms that exist. Someone is noticing something changes. What are some of those changes? And right on the heel of that, just tell us when we should have that conversation. With the doctor.
So the most common symptom, I guess, you hear a woman speak about is feeling a lump in the breast. So feeling that lump during your self-breast examinations, which should be done about 5 days after your period has ended, right? So doing your self-breast examinations, I guess someday we'll show them how to do their self-breast examinations. Remember we used to do that on YouTube?
On YouTube. We can't show you here now.
We can't show you here, but we'll find a way. So doing your self-breast examinations every month or every other month. Let's be real, right? Let's be very honest.
Yeah.
Your clinical breast examinations, but a breast lump. The lumps are generally irregular. They can be hard. They may not be painful. They may not be as mobile as other lumps, because there are other lumps in the breast that are benign, and they're called fibroadenomas, and then they're breast cysts. So it's any lump you feel in your breast, it's important to get checked out. Yeah. You may have a change in the skin, the texture of the skin of the breast.
Right.
It's important to look at your breast in the mirror, hands akimbo. Remember, ladies, that your breasts will never be the same size unless you pay for them. Yeah. So you will have a slight difference, but if you see a marked difference in the breast size, it's important to get that checked out. Yeah. Look at the skin of the breast. It is looking like roughened, like an orange skin? Is it looking like the nipple is retracted? Yeah. Are you seeing nipple discharge that is or is not bloody, or is yellowish or purulent, as we say? Is it unilateral discharge only from one breast? Are you feeling breast pain? Are you feeling with these things also fatigue, loss of appetite, maybe some bone pain or some back pain, shortness of breath? Those are all possible signs and symptoms of breast cancer.
So those are the symptoms there.
Itching of the breast.
Itching is another one.
Yes.
Guys, you always can call in with your questions. We're getting closer to the top of the hour, but I want to make sure you're included inside of this discussion. So you mentioned the symptoms. Can you speak to, and you just hinted on the fact that we need to do our checks every month or every other month?
Every month is the right thing. I'm being realistic, and every other month is fine, but every month you should know how your breasts feel. Why do we do it after our periods? Because of the hormonal influence on the breast tissue. Therefore, we want to make sure we know how our breasts feel after that period. It's important to understand, for example, JD, some of us have lumpy breasts or dense breast tissue, for example, so you know how your breast feels. So if you feel a difference and you feel a different lump or a different texture, you can tell the physician, this is what I'm feeling and how many months I've been feeling it for, right? Doing your self-breast examinations, your clinical breast examination every year, and then from 40, as long as you don't have a strong family history and a first-degree relative did not die before 40 of breast cancer, the regular age to start mammograms is 40. Yeah?
Right.
Your mammograms are done. Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society offers mammograms, obviously. It's heavily subsidized, so it's one of the cheapest in town, market value, but it's not like Confucius says, cheap thing not good, good thing not cheap. This is really very good.
Yes.
State-of-the-art equipment and very loving and empathetic staff. And if you have a problem with them, find me. I will deal with it. But honestly, the mammograms are not painful. They're uncomfortable. JD can say to that, and I can speak to that.
It's just uncomfortable.
And you do that again 5 days after your period. We have to time it because obviously with the hormones, your breasts are more tender and sensitive as well. Yeah.
So let's speak to that quickly. So someone is over 40, they want to come in to do the mammogram.
They call the Cancer Society.
But one of the questions they always ask
when
me
was your
is
last period?
When was your last period? Mm-hmm. So that, and they count a particular amount of days. Can
about
you speak,
5 to 7 7 days after your period. So between 5 days after your period, we will say it's a good time to do your mammogram.
So we're in the building at the Cancer Society on
Dundonnell Street, 69
Yes.
Dundonnell Street.
To the top.
Next to Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah. We're in the building, we parked and we're coming in. Can you go through the process of what happens?
COVID-19 protocols all are there. Wash your hands, temperature, sanitize. Your appointment has been confirmed and you're booked. You go in, you fill out your form, your demographic information, and all the other risk factor information that we will ask.
Right.
That is for us to have an idea of what we're dealing with, and because we have to look at the patient as an individual. They will then call you, or you pay, right?
Yes.
Then they call you in.
Call you in. Mhm.
When they call you into the room, they give you the instructions. You basically cannot wear any They will tell you that before the mammogram, no cream or deodorant or perfume on the day of the mammogram.
Yeah.
You go in, they will ask you to take off all your jewelry, your bra, and they will give you a nice pink robe.
Did you see my picture today?
No, I did not
I'll
see
show
your
you.
picture.
With
And
my
then,
pink robe last year.
and then they will send you in for the mammogram. The mammographer will come in for you and take you in, and then she will give you all the steps. They have different views that they have to go through. Based on that, or sometimes your physician who sent you for the mammogram,
Right.
although you can self-refer, a physician can refer you for your mammogram. They may request a breast ultrasound at that time. If not, based on the results of the mammogram, if we want to see something a little more accurately because of dense breast tissue, we will do an ultrasound.
So can I just, I'll let persons know my business. So I literally, and I've been doing it, so many years because I'm 44. But even before that, I was doing it actually, seriously. I was even doing it before because I'm dense as well. But I always do both of them, the
Right.
ultrasound and the mammogram. So is it
Correct.
something we can come in and say, hey, I
You
just want to
can-
do two off
yes,
the bat?
you can.
Yeah?
You can, and then it's done. We give the result. If it's normal, we can email it to you. If there's any suspicion or any abnormality, or we need to do a spot compression or anything, we will have a doctor call you.
What is a spot compression?
Spot compression
the
is that we've
calls?
seen a spot that we're concerned about, so we zone in on that spot, clamp down a little harder to see what's going on.
In most cases, on the positive side, what can that spot that they notice be?
It could be nothing.
Could be
It could be
nothing.
nothing. It could be absolutely nothing. We're just trying our best because
make
this
sure.
is the gold standard screening test right now.
All right, guys, I see the phone lines lighting up.
Ooh.
So let me just mind my business a little bit and say thanks to Massey. Then I'm coming back right after that,
Yes.
straight into your phone calls. Don't worry, we've got
10
so much
minutes.
more. Not only that, I'm thinking about the rest of the month.
yeah, we have-
We're going
we
to have
have-
another conversation on
yes.
breast cancer later on, so don't
Yes.
worry about it. But let's just say thanks to Massey Stores.
Get dinner and candles alight, popcorn for your movie night. One stop and get it right. It's that good. We've got what you're looking for. All the brands you love and more. Get everything at Massey Stores. Massey Stores is where you wanna be. We take care of you like family. We do all that we could to treat you like we should. It's that good, it's that good. That good. When you shop at Massey Stores. It's that good.
Massey Stores, our family serving your family.
Thank you again to our friends at Massey Stores. This is the live checkup. Dr. Le Blanc is in studio right here on I-95.5. I'm JD. And if you didn't know the history, just check out on YouTube some of our videos before. We've been doing this for 3 years, but we recently transitioned here on the airwaves thanks to folks like Massey Stores for keeping us
I
here.
like that jingle though. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, Massey's all again. And then Denise, that voice, I'm telling you. So I've got two questions. Literally, this question, Doc, is not one of mine. So I'm sort of already connecting with the listeners, right? So someone asked, Doc, can you speak to the ultrasound? We were really hoping to put this inside another conversation, Annette, but we'll look at that. The ultrasound, can that replace a mammogram, she says, as well as, she says, a friend of hers died not too long ago from cancer and said her doctor told her to always use deodorants without aluminum.
Right.
Can you speak to
So most of the deodorants that are antiperspirant may have aluminum hydroxide in it. So you'll see now that a lot of the deodorants are coming out saying no aluminum because aluminum hydroxide is a possible carcinogen. So for example, I could tell you some of my business. I recently started to switch from aluminum hydroxide deodorants, and I use more natural deodorants. So I had to. It's a matter of trial and error. So don't think it's a one-off and you'll be fine.
Right.
They have some with charcoal. They have some with just natural lavender and different shea butter and so forth. But remember, you may have to reapply during the day because they're not necessarily antiperspirant.
Right,
but also
right.
you have to see what matches your skin. So I've been through a few. And I've now settled on, and I'm in no way getting money from this, but I will share my business. I settled on one from Jada Pinkett Smith, believe it or not, which is called Hey Humans. It's sold in Target, in Target.
Right.
And it's really, I must say, I've been using it for the past 2 months. And it's really been good. And that was a recommendation from my cousin, I must say, in Canada. So I shout her out as well.
So what's the name of it?
It's Hey Humans.
Hey Humans.
And so I find, so I find that it's, I think you can get it on Amazon as well. And so I find that you have to feel it through, because while that works for me, it may not work for you.
Okay.
So there's some black charcoal ones as well. They're different ones, but you want to, I tend to switch it up.
It's a trial and error.
Yeah, really. And I tend to switch it up, so I don't always use an antiperspirant. If I know I'm going into a heavy stress situation, I'm not going to lie to you. I will put on my secret with aluminum, because I know I'm going to be sweating like a pig.
Thank you for that info. Guys, the number is 622-EYES. We've got literally 6 minutes, so please make your questions like faster than that. You know what we say, Trini?
Yeah.
Faster than that, all right? Because I want to get as much as you inside of the conversation today, right here, the live checkup, courtesy of friends at Massey Stores. Hello, good morning, you're live. What's your question? Good morning. Okay,
bye.
All right, so... Right. So can you speak to
the ultrasound? Yes. So the ultrasound cannot replace the mammogram. Now, some women have very small breasts, and so they're concerned that their breasts cannot fit into the mammogram.
Right.
So if they're extremely flat-chested, well, then we will do the ultrasound. But the Trinidad and Tobago Society actually has a paddle for very small-breasted women.
Oh, okay.
So it's not as uncomfortable. We're not fighting to get the breast tissue on. So the majority of women, we cannot replace the mammogram with the ultrasound. They are women that have very small breasts, and we do say, okay, we can do the ultrasound, but the majority of cases you have to do the mammogram.
Oh, phone line's going crazy.
Okay.
I have a feeling between you and me that we're going a little bit after the
Well,
news.
you know how that goes. Don't tell anybody. Okay, I'll be very quiet.
Whisper that element.
Whisper
okay?
it. Okay.
Hello, good morning. You're live. What's your question?
Yes, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just mix up my own deodorant. I use coconut oil, baking soda, and any like lemon oil or some fragrance oil.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that works. Again, so I mean, and in the time of COVID, there's so much time to research how you can make your own deodorant as well. So I love that idea. I just don't have time to make my own deodorant, but that's a great combination. And again, you're just looking to make sure you smell good, right? Because remember, that's all the deodorant is there for. It's not for anything else.
We're in a tropical country too.
Yeah, so when you're going in that taxi and you're going, woo!
Yeah.
No. So it's important.
Another Trini
body odor.
When you start a rank.
When you're rank, does it?
Here's another question from V in NYC. She says, "Hey, good morning. I've got the dense fatty breast tissue. V, you're not alone. So does that make a person more susceptible to breast cancer?"
Not really. It's just that we have to be very more thorough. Yeah, much more thorough with our it's not a risk factor. For example, I have fatty dense tissue as well, so this is where you do the mammogram and the ultrasound, and be very conscious about your self breast examinations and your clinical breast examination. Know your family history, and also be proactive when it comes to your diet, your lifestyle, your exercise regime. Stress coping, JD, I can't emphasize it enough how important it is for stress coping. As I tell you, be happy, YOLO, laugh. It's so important to look at those things. It's a very holistic approach.
All right, here's another question. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, let me get away from the serious.
Quickly, you got 30 seconds because we're tight.
Right,
Yeah.
I'll shoot my question. Doctor, what did you say the protocols for screening was again? And involving the breast cancer. I just wanted to just go through some few points for me.
Okay, great.
Points, yeah.
I love that he called for his woman or women in his life or daughters. So the protocol is you do your monthly self-breast examinations 5 days after your period. at the age of 40, we start with mammograms. Before that, you do your yearly or annual clinical breast exam where your GP, your doctor, will do the clinical breast examination on a yearly basis. You start your mammograms. Your mammograms are done annually. You make the appointment with the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society. It's 800 TTCS is the major number there. If you have problems, you can also find them on Facebook and Instagram to get their numbers and their contact details. You make the appointment. They will give you your appointment. It's first come, first served. So you go in, you follow all the COVID protocols, you wash your hands, the temperature, everything, and then they will take you through the process for your mammogram and or your ultrasound, and then we call you with your results.
And in weight itself, just to be honest, because we've both been there, but of course you're the chairwoman, but me as a patient coming in, it's not a long process at all.
No, and first come, first serve just means we have slotted in a certain number to be in the clinic at that time, especially now with COVID-19.
All right. Hello, good morning, you're live. What's your question?
Good morning, JD.
Good. Hey, Mr. Junior
morning,
Let.
Dr. Le Blanc.
Good. Who is this?
Junior Let from our sister station.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
He have a nice voice.
You have a nice laugh.
You see?
Oh, good. Thank you.
Listen, guys, we see sometimes here the apprehension from men to go do certain types of what we would consider evasive types of exams. Do you see any type of apprehension? Do we have that kind of apprehension, or is there influx of women going to say, you know what, we're going to do this whole thing of getting our check, especially at age 40, getting our checks done for breast cancer? Do we see that, or is it where the guys will try to get each other? Is it a man
thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Do we still see any kind of apprehension?
We do see apprehension, which is why the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society is consistently trying to educate and debunk the myth of the mammogram, because there's so much cultural hesitancy for mammograms and so much myths amongst mammograms. Like one of the major myths is that a mammogram will give you cancer, that it will somehow cause the cancer to spread in your body and all these things. So there is a lot of hesitancy, and that's why programs like this are around to constantly remind women. And also JD and I, for example, set an example, and we can tell you of our experience. So it's about us doing word of mouth and programs like this to remind everyone the importance of doing the mammogram and not to be afraid of the diagnosis, because early detection is key.
Oh, thanks for the info.
You're most welcome. And now that he mentions men, a very small percent of men can get breast cancer. So men should just if they feel a lump, go straight to their doctors and we will work it out.
All right, I'm waiting on the news team, guys, but I promise you, because I'm JD and you guys appreciate me, right? I want to see lots of love on the Facebook page, especially, and those of you that are listening in the regular
But she
spaces,
just moving her hands up like, I see her. Oh, God, it's cutie.
It's cutie. Just make sure you always say Jay is just one of the best announcers. She always gives us a little extra time inside of the live checkup, just in case any of the management say, what's going on? But in studio right now, QT is here. That's what you call him?
Well, yeah, because I never remember his name with his eyes.
What? He's blushing under that mask. Under the mask, he's blushing. Huh?
Come, modesty does not become you.
All right, so we're going to jump into the top of the hour news update. Then we'll come back in just a bit and wrap up the conversation, courtesy of our friends at Massey. Thank you guys so much. We love our listeners and we appreciate each and every time that you connect with us. But we love these folks as well, equally.
Like popcorn for your movie night. One stop and get it right. It's that good. We've got what you're looking for. All the brands you love and more. Get everything at Massey Stores. Massey Stores is where you wanna be. We take care of you like family. We do all that we could to treat you like we should. It's that good. It's that good. That good. When you shop at Massey Stores. That good.
Massey Stores, our family serving your family.
I think on Tuesdays at 10:30 to around 11, I spoil the listeners. Well, you join me in spoiling them as well, because we bend the rules just a little bit. So, guys, because we just didn't want to abruptly end the last conversation inside of the live checkup, I'm going to just allow one more caller. then we certainly encourage you to send that email to thelivecheckupt@gmail.com. It is the month of October where breast cancer awareness is really under the spotlight, so don't worry. The doc will be back. If you've got questions, write it down, because if you're like me, you may forget when the next conversation starts. So write it down. Keep your questions just in case we don't get to connect with you today so we can share it again with the doctor. Here's your final caller, Dr. Le Blanc. Good morning to you.
Good morning, JD and Dr. Clark.
Good
morning.
Good show as usual.
Thank you.
This is not. Do you all, Dr. Le Blanc, as the head of the Cancer Society, do you all do campaigns with the insurance companies?
Yes,
because
we
like
do.
you, I have lumpy breasts. I come to the Cancer Society every year. They advise do both. But the insurance companies do not pay for ultrasound unless, I guess, they find a lump during the mammogram, which I find I don't understand is if prevention is less expensive than treatment.
I find that strange because
Thank you.
it depends on the company, but we
Yes.
do work with companies, with the major insurance companies for sure. I find that strange that they will not reimburse you for an ultrasound, because especially if a doctor refers you for the ultrasound based on the result of a mammogram, it's a little more than just prevention.
But
So
if I'm just walking in to get it done as my annual checkup,
they may not cover it.
Oh,
It depends
maybe
on your
that's what
plan. But if the doctor refers, but generally it's referred by a doctor for the ultrasound. So maybe you can check with your insurance company. And then I will also do my part from my end and speak to them and try and see what the situation is
because I was
as
about
well.
to say I always get the insurance to cover part of mine, but then you refer me to them.
I refer
So-
you for both.
Yeah. So, okay. All right, guys, that's it. But I know you still want to hear some more from the doctor. So tell us about what's happening with this pink ribbon.
Right.
situation.
So when you shop at Massey Stores, our sponsor for the month of October, and you buy one or more of their pink reusable bags, those bags are so cute. I have too many.
Right.
$4 for each from each purchase of that bag will go towards the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society, and that helps us with our screening program, which we then further are able to provide different
course,
specials
provide that,
and
right.
the last campaign that they did, it helped us to buy a new ultrasound machine. So it's not only just about us giving you cheaper screening, but also making sure that our equipment is really state of the art and up to date. So this is what these campaigns do for us, and also helps us with education drives, reaching out to the high schools and to the population on the whole, and with our mobile clinics as well, with COVID permitting. I see something here. Lately, lots of young women are being diagnosed with breast cancer, even without family history. Are there any screening for young women 20 to 30 age range?
Before you go there, I thought about that earlier on in our discussion because I lost a friend some years ago and he was 35.
Right.
From
Yeah.
that, and I was wondering, I wonder if maybe it was in her genes. Because
Well,
as you spoke, I was trying to figure out what.
So it can be in your family history. So what happens is, this is why we are educating women consistently. Do yourself checks and go to your doctor. Listen to your intuition and know that if there's a lump and it's not feeling right, we can do the mammogram and ultrasound. We have to work up a lump. So let's say you're between 20 and 30. And I go in and I say, Doc, I'm feeling a lump and I'm only 25. Do you smoke? No. Are you overweight, selectively plump? No. Do I have a lot of belly fat? No. Am I eating properly? Yes. Am I exercising? Yes. Am I drinking too much? No. Do you have family history? No. Then how come? Okay, I'm feeling this lump, Doc. Can you feel it? Doc feels it. I don't feel anything, Doc. It's right here because you did your breast examinations for more than a month. And that's so important that you have to feel it more than a month, because you may have cyclical breast pain or a cyclical lump.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you feel that lump and it's consistent and you know where it is. You tell the doctor. I have patients who come and say, put your hand here. This is where it is. The doctor feels it. Even if the doctor didn't feel it, the doctor is supposed to send you, and that's what I would do.
That's what you did to me.
Send you for an ultrasound. Because you're not of the age for a mammogram. You do not have the risk factors. Once we do the ultrasound, if the ultrasound pricks up a lump, it will describe it. It will then have characteristics. And with those characteristics, it will decide if a biopsy needs to be done at that time or our usual follow-up between 3 to 6 months to see if the lump is changing, growing, or not. Why younger women are getting cancer, breast cancer, remember, cancer is a lifestyle disease. And this is why it's important for us to take stock of our lifestyles and to start from a very young age. This is why it's important for us to go into the schools and teach the schools. This is why it's important to look. And it's not about saying, don't eat sugar, don't eat this, don't eat that. It's about educating healthier lifestyles. It doesn't mean you cannot have sugar, but if you're going to choose sugar at one time for your coffee or your tea, brown sugar or honey, the less processing.
Yeah.
If you're going to have something, look at the contents. You cannot have 10 cups of sugar all day long, 24/7, 365, and think that that's going to be fine. You have to look at what you're eating. You have to look at the amount of fried foods, the amount of grilled food. So there's a long list. And younger women, and also we have to look at the contents in our meats. So the red meats and the chicken, the poultry, if it's not from Trinidad and Tobago, and even if it's from Trinidad and Tobago, what feed was given to those animals? Did it have antibiotics and hormones? Because that can impact on our breast tissue as well. Look at your stress coping. So there are many factors that we have to look at, but I want younger women to be very reassured that if you feel a lump, go to your doctor. It has to be worked up. Any doctor that says, don't worry about it, don't do anything, find another one. Trust your instincts and get it worked up. When you see that workup being done and it says fibroadenoma, breast cysts of so much, we follow it up 3 to 6 months. We look at how it's growing. We look at the characteristics. And then we decide if we have to do a biopsy or not, if we have to take out the lump or not, and further test it with histology. So it's not, I can't get cancer 20 to 30. It's that you have to know what you have to do and what has to be done for you by your family physician.
This conversation continues.
It will continue next week if you so desire.
I don't mind because what I'm feeling as though we need to dive into the lumps, the different types.
So we can do that next week and then come back on something else on the week. Well, we could do the whole month as you know, just let's do it. You know, that's what Nike says, right?
You're giving them money because many of us have different type. In doing my research some time ago, there are so many different types of lumps, and they don't have to be, as you said, and linked to.
And I want people to understand that cancer is not a death sentence. And Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society wants people to understand that it's a lifestyle disease, but there's also genetic linkage. But it's not a death sentence. And there are things we can do. And screening is important. And JD's giving me a cut eye. So we have to go. But let us continue next week. And it's been a pleasure being here.
Your contact numbers
let's not do mine this week because it's October. So it's all for the Cancer Society, Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society, located 69 Dundonald Street. It's 800 TTCS. On Facebook, they're Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society. On Instagram, it's Trinidad and Tobago Cancer. They're on TikTok. They're on Twitter. Follow them. Just be, join us. Be a member. We need volunteers. We need help. We're really trying. We are the National Voice Against Cancer. We've been serving Trinidad and Tobago over 50 years, and we're here to help however we can. We have so many services, including the hospice, which is palliative care. We offer counseling. We offer so many things. So let's just do this.
All right. Thank you very much to Massey
Yes.
Stores. Thank you very much to you, Dr. Le Blanc. And also a special thank you to our listeners for all.
I felt like I drink too much coffee, like I was on speed today, boy. It's so good to see you, JD. Oh my gosh. I see you and I have almost same hair length these days.
Yes, we do.
Somebody need to cut it.
So next week, God willing, same time we'll be
same time, same place
of the live checkup. Thank you so much to these folks.
Get dinner and candles alight, popcorn for your movie night. One stop and get it right. It's that good. We've got what you're looking for. All the brands you love and more. Get everything at Massey Stores. Massey Stores is where you wanna be. We take care of you like family. We do all that we could to treat you like we should. It's that good, it's that good. That good. When you shop at Massey Stores. That good.
Massey Stores, our family serving your family.
Hi, this is JD. I'm inviting you to join me and Dr. Asante Le Blanc right here on I-95.5 FM for our brand new segment, The Live Checkup, every Tuesday from 10:30 to 11 a.m. Together, we will take you on a journey of health and well-being as we explore every level of traditional and alternative medicine. Dr. Le Blanc will be ready to answer all your questions on air. So tune in to the most interactive health talk show, The Live Checkup, Tuesdays from 10:30 to 11 a.m.